have ordered some new papers. Now they're not Graphic 45 this time, they're Stamperia. And if I turn them around, you can probably see them better. And they are absolutely gorgeous. So I thought the first thing we'd do is we'd have a look at these papers. Now, it's probably also a good idea to show you the kit that I'm going to make the album from. So this is an album where I'm making my own pages, but I am using the Cool Cats Morgana Album cover set because I can't do laser cutting in the way that they can. So I'm going to start by opening this. Now, I cannot get on with these sticky bits. So the first thing I always do when I open a pack is cut the sticky bits off. So I'm just going to cut that off and throw that in the bin. I find if I don't cut the sticky bits off, they seem to be, bear with me a minute, they seem to be quite low down. I'm just hoping you can see everything. So this is the Morgana album. So it's through Cool Cats, but it is a full-length forward design. And you actually get two of the back pages. I only used one. I've got a whole collection of these. I must make another album. And you get your front cover, you get your acetate, which is covered on both sides, which is why you can't see through it at the moment, a back cover, and your spine. So I like these with the Stamperia papers because I do like this window effect. And those of you who saw the other one that I did, which was, can't remember, it'll come back to me as we talk, will know that window effect can be a real wow when you start. Masquerade, that's it, masquerade. When you start putting it together, that can be a real wow. So that's what I'm working with. So I'm just going to put that to one side. So Stamperia, I find, for that sort of album is absolutely brilliant. Now, what I wanted was to have one pack of the double-faced sheets, and then they do, you can see it here on the 12 by 12, they do what they call their maxi pad, which is 22 single-faced sheets. But I couldn't get that in the 8x8s, so I bought 2 packs of the double-faced sheets. So let me show you the papers. Now I have opened this, so it's not got a sticky on it. So the papers are absolutely, if I move the others out the way, you can see better. The papers are absolutely lovely. So bearing in mind, while we're looking through them, that I want something to go is as a window. Okay, so you've even got the backing paper on the actual front cover, so you can use that. I'm liking that. I'm thinking, yes, that would make a nice cover piece. Quite like that. Let's look at the next one. Oh, so you've got some journaling cards, and again you've got them in the 12 by 12 as well. So the 12 by 12, the actual double-sided, is exactly like this, just blown up a bit. Morning, Debbie. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. So today, Debbie, is very much a help me out day. So we're looking to see if we're going to make a Morgana, what papers would go nicely. So again, this is really nice. I was thinking I might lose quite a bit of it, but looking at it, I don't think I will. I think that might look really pretty. Okay, so we'll keep that one in mind. That one I think would be too, yeah, we'd have too much of the pink and not much of anything else. So maybe not that one. Again, I love the backings on some of these. This one I really, really love as a backing one. So here, it's nice, but we either keep the bird and lose some of the roses. I might save that for a page. Don't know what everyone else is thinking. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Now, for a wow opening page, what do people think? So keep that one in mind as well. That one I like, but I think it's not got that wow because it's got that too much there. And I'm definitely not thinking that one. I love that one, and I would perhaps have that as the back page so people could write. Yeah, they are. They really are, Debbie. They are gorgeous, these papers. That I would definitely have as a backing. No, there's not enough on that. And then we've got the little footy cut tags. And that's quite interesting, but I'm not sure. It certainly isn't what I would want for my first front page. So if I'm going through, we've got, I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I turned that. It's square. We've got that. So that's a possibility. So I'm just going to take that one out very carefully. That's our journaling. What do people think? I must admit I do like that. I really do like that. And although you've got that blue there, you've got those butterflies. So that's another possibility for our front page. Let's take that one out. That one, I just think there's too much. Oops, let me just move it so you can see it all. There's too much pink. There's just too much pink and not enough of that one. Okay. Oh, I didn't mean to take that one out. This one, the bird is too high, I think. I don't want to cut the bird off, otherwise it looks a bit odd. But I think the bird, to actually get it on the page, I think the bird is too high. The clock, I'm going to say is a definite possibility. That one, I think, is quite nice, but I just think there's a bit too much blue there. You'd have to have something there, I think. That one, no, I think would make a nice back page. So, we've got 3. Yes. So I'm going to call this one A. So if you think A, let me know. If you think B, let me know. Or if you think C, let me know. So, A is the clock, B, C. Okay, so morning Lynn, good morning. Clock, Linda is saying the clock, Debbie is saying B, Janet is saying C. Okay. Right, so far we've got them all. Right, okay. C and C from Lynn. So C was, oh my God, was this one, wasn't it? Was that one C? I think that was C. Yep, so C seems to be the favourite at the moment. A, that was the clock. Yeah, so we've got a couple for the clock. I sort of think we're not going for that one. I know Debbie likes that one, but I can't see anyone else going for that one. So it's going to be between A and C. Okay, someone else is going for A. And C. I'm thinking that A would look quite spectacular, wouldn't it? So I think I'm going to go with that one. The reason you need to find that out first is because it's going to make a difference what you put around the edge. Okay, so I'm just going to pop these back away. Now, the next thing is, am I doing it on blue or black? So I bought one of each. So if I do it on black, it will be black with black tape. Okay, so that's it on the black. I'm not sure how much difference you're going to see. So that's on the black, and that would be with black tape. If I do it on the blue, so that's it on the blue, and I'm not sure, as I say, how much difference you'll see, but it will be with the silver tape. So it's either blue with the silver tape, because they don't make a blue one, or black with the black tape. So again, blue. I wonder if I put these two together, you might see the difference a bit better. I'm not sure that you can. So blue with silver or black with black. What are we thinking? Blue with blue with the silver or black with the black. So I'll give you a minute to have a think about that one. I'm not sure on either of them. I can't make up my mind. I think I prefer the blue, but then I've got to use the silver, which, you know, could look just fine. The black feels a little bit harsher, but I can then use the black tape. So what's anybody thinking? I'm going to have a quick drink. Okay. Janet says black. Black with black. Okay. Let's see if there's anyone else. If not, I'm going black. I'm going black. Oh, right, okay. Gillian would like to see the silver tape. Linda's saying black. So at the moment, black is winning. Sorry, Gillian, black is winning. So I'm thinking I'm going to go with the black. I tell you what, Gillian, I'll do another one and I'll use the silver tape with the blue. So we're going to go black. Okay. Right. So I'm going to move that out of the way. It's now looking a bit of a mess on my desk. Okay. So the first thing we've got to do is to put our actual album together. So let me just move all of that out of the way. So I know I've shown you this before, but I've never actually shown you from scratch. So we're going black, and we're going black on black. So pull out a nice long piece of black. I'm going to move that back a bit so you can see right from the edge. So this is now hanging down over my table. Okay, if I lift this, oops, sorry, you can see it's hanging down over my table. So I'm going to put that, wrong hand. It doesn't have to go right to the edge, okay? In fact, it's better if it doesn't go right to the edge. And you want it around about the middle. So Cool Cats have brought out a very useful tool, but I'm not going to use it today because I just need two hands when I'm doing this live. Because I'm slightly at an angle that I wouldn't normally be at. So I'm going to put it down on there, run it round like that, and then I'm just going to gently pull a bit more tape and run it round a third time. So I'm only doing 3 sides, and then I'm just going to cut this off. I find with the grey board it's really nice because it does actually mark the tape so that you can see where you're cutting it off. So I'm just going to cut that off there, and then I'm just going to go round all 3 of my edges just with my hand. It doesn't have to be anything, just on that edge, just to make sure that it is actually stuck to the edge of the grey board. And then I'm just going to gently pull those corners. I'm not sticking them, I'm just pulling them to give me a bit of a point from which to cut. So I'm then going to cut into but not up to the corners. So into but not up to. Sorry, I'm trying to do this so that you can see. So it feels a bit cack-handed to me. And then I'm just going to pull those back. Now, when I'm doing this on the other piece, you'll see the difference. I can't balance on there because there's a big hole. So you've got to be a little bit more gentle with doing this one. So I'm just pulling, I hope you can see, I'm just pulling those two. I'm just trying to get that off there. It's stuck to the other piece. There we go, it's coming. Just pulling those two corners in, those two little V's in, and then just very, very gently pulling in those edges. So, this is very difficult to do, especially when you're doing it live on the one with the hole, because, oh, that's a real mess there. I'll have to sort that out afterwards. Because you've got nothing to lean it on. And you don't want to push down the other side. But once you've done the first side, and you can see how the corners look much neater, that one doesn't because that's messed up somehow, but I will come to that in a minute. So this is much easier now because you can lay it flat. So I'm going to cut my corners in again, and again there. And this time I can lay it down, pull those three edges out, pull that into there, pull that into there, and just gently roll that into place. So start from the middle, roll it outwards into place. So this tape is beautifully forgiving, and it will, if it tears, you can do a patch really, really easily. Okay, so I'm just going to go around and just give that a little burnish on this side, and then a little burnish on this side. And I don't like that corner, but I can probably burnish the worst of it out, and that corner's fine. So that's the first one done. So now we're going to do the same thing on the second one, but this is going to be so much easier. Now, although I didn't do this deliberately, it does give me the chance to show you how easy it is with this tape. So I'm just going to take a little piece, line it up, take it over, and just, you never know. Okay, and that's the nice thing. And you would be very hard put to see where I'd put that, added that on. Okay, so that's the two sides. Now I'm going to do these edges. So I'm just going to cut a piece of tape, put a piece on this side. It's slightly too long because I don't want it going over the edges. So I'm just going to pull it back. And now I can put it on where I want it, like so. And then I'm going to do the same on this side. Pull it. That might be a bit short. That's a bit short. Okay. So that looks a bit better. Okay, put it on. That will do perfectly. turn it over and do that. Okay, so today what I'm going to do is try and show you how to fix these if you haven't got the spine alignment tools. So again, I'm coming down like this, and I'm going to put this about just under halfway, like so. And this time I'm going to cut, okay, if I find my scissors, I'm going to cut the roll off. So I've just got, I'm hoping you can see, let me just bring it up a little bit. I need a new tripod. Okay, so hopefully you can see better. Oops, all you can see is my finger now. You can see I've got a little bit at both ends. And I'm going to lay the spine over the top of the page so that the two edges line up. And then I'm just going to pull that over the top. Now you can do this either way. I prefer just to pull it gently over the top. Okay, so I'm just going to pull that over the top and then open it, and then you can see you've got that gap. So the gap is the width of those two pieces. So I'm now going to pull that down like that, pull that up like that. Whoops. Oh, the tape's all stuck together now. And then I'm just going to put a piece in the middle like that. And again, because the tape is so forgiving, that will just meld in. Not sure that there's a word called meld, but there you go. If there is, that's what it's doing. And then I'm just very gently running this little bit across there. If it does tear, it doesn't matter because you can just repair it. And then I'm going to turn it over, do the same on that side. I can see I've got a couple of little ridges in there. I'll get the other one because it's a bit stiffer. I'm just going to try and get those ridges out as much as I can. Okay, so that's the one side done. So now I'm going to bring in the front. Move these all out the way. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing again. So I'm going to put that on just under half, not over half, under half. This time I'm going to cut the tape. So when I do it with the spine alignment tools, I don't cut the tape. But because we're actually going to fold this over, now you can do it the way I've just done it, or you can put the two together and then fold it like that. I prefer my way because I tend to find it slips. I don't know whether it's because I haven't got very big hands, but I do tend to find I can't hold it still enough. So I'm just going to wrap that over very gently. And this is why you cut the edge off, because you don't actually want too much sticking together on either side. And then I'm just going to open it, pull it very gently so that you get that gap, and then close that up, and put some tape along there. If you can hear any banging in the background, my oh, that's got a bit of a crinkle in it. My husband's normally at work on a Wednesday and he's not today, so he's never learnt the art of being quiet. So he's banging and crashing around. Okay, so then I'm just going to burnish that down using my smaller one. I'm just going to go into there very, very gently, and into there very, very gently. And then that is the book made. So that's seeing it made from scratch. So I'm going to put that to one side somewhere for a minute. And the acetate I'm also going to put on one side for a minute. And I'm going to make the spine. So I'm going to bring in my cutting machine. My trimmer, that's the word I'm looking for. And I'm going to make a 4-page spine. Now, somewhere underneath all this mess, I've got the measurements. So your pages are going to be 7 3/4 by 7 3/4. So your spine needs to be just a tiniest bit smaller. So your spine is going to be 7 5/8. So 7 5/8. Now the reason you want your spine just that little bit shorter is so that you can get that slide on the page. So 7 5/8. You could even go 1/16 more. So that's what I'm going to do. So 7 5/8, but then 1/16 more. Can't tell you what that is. 5/8 would be 10/16, so it's 11/16. There you go. I knew my maths would come in useful. And I'm just going to cut that to that size. So 7 5/8 plus 1/16. So 11/16. I think that's right. And I want one piece at 2 5/8, and this is 2 5/8. So 2 4/8 5/8. So 2 5/8 for the first one, and the second one is 1 7/8. So 1 7/8. Okay. Now again, I could do this with my spine, my Corcat spine things. I'm going to have a go and see if I can do it without. So I want to make sure I've got the scoring tool. So I just have to remember, just bear with me 1 second while I just make sure I remember what the measurements are. Yeah, so it's 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch. I thought it was. Yeah. So I'm going to score this at 1/2 inch. So 1/2 inch. Whoa! I'm not going to cut it. 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch. And whoops. And 3/4 inch. Now I could do this with my scoreboard, but as I've got this here, then I'm going to turn it 180 degrees and I'm going to score again at 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch, like so. Okay, so it is better with a scoreboard because you're less likely to cut it rather than score it, but also you will get a straighter line. But not everybody's got a scoreboard, so I thought today we'd do it with a trimmer. So 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch. This is also way more accurate if you do use the spine alignment tools. But again, you know, if you haven't got them, you haven't got them. So 1/2 inch. And if you're not someone who makes a huge number of memory books, you know, you're not going to have them. And 3/4 inch. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is align that up. No, I won't. I'll leave it. Okay, that's just one measurement too much in my brain. So I'm going to fold all of these. So fold the middle out. Now, if you can fold them both ways, particularly the outer fold, it will make it easier when you come to put your pages on. So that's one. And I'm going to fold it the other way because I actually want the channel going in that way. And then that can go that way. And then I want the channel going in, like so. And then I want this one to actually fold both ways. So this card, as I'm sure I've said before, is £2.90. And it does need a little bit of wrecking. But I do want that to go both ways. So I'm doing this much quicker than I would normally do and taking far less care than I would normally do. But that's what you're looking for. Not quick and less care. What you're looking for is something that looks like that. Okay, so it's got a little channel. And then we're going to do the same with the smaller one. I have got a little cut in that. So I might just put a little bit of tape over that in a minute. We have a workshop every Thursday, and we always have a who's going to be the first person to cut instead of score. It's usually me. Okay, so I'm just going to go over that and go over that. Okay, and this double fold allows this to go both ways. Okay, now I have got a little cut there, so what I'm going to do is just stick a little tiny bit of double-sided tape on it. Okay, never despair. And just pop a piece of double-sided tape on that, and that will be fine. So that will just hold in place. Just need to go a little bit, trim that off a little bit more. There we go. Okay. And that will be absolutely fine. And then what I'm going to do is just cut these edges, corners, to a mitre, because again, that's going to make it easier to get your pages on. If you do it first, it's so much easier. Okay. Now, if you think you're going to have a bulky book, then you might want to make this a little bit wider. Okay. So I'm going to pop that onto there using some wet glue. Get rid of that end there. Pop this onto here with some wet glue. And I'm going to centre it up as best I can. Again, I could have marked those, but as long as it's reasonably centred, I'm not going to worry too much. It does need to come over just a little tad more. I can just see in there. Okay, so I'm roughly centred. So that over just a tad more. That's got it. That's got it. Okay. And then that's just fine, all ready to go in your book. Oops, that's the acetate. I'll just move that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is put another piece of tape along here. In fact, I'm probably going to put another 2 pieces because I do want to cover all the grey board. Now, if you saw me do this last week, you'll know that I wrapped it right round because I was going to have a 6-page big album. This is only going to be a 4-page, so it will hold quite well without the need to wrap it all the way around. And I'm literally just covering that, okay, like that. Now, because this is tape and the glue won't necessarily stick as well, I'm going to use my Corkat's finger tape, which is Sticky Paws and is as strong as red liner tape. So I'm just going to put a piece along there. But it is so much easier to use than red liner tape. And you don't go to bed at night with red liner tape falling all over the floor and clinging on to every bit of you. So I'm just going to take this off. Okay, I'll get rid of those two bits. And then, because I really don't want this coming off at any time, I'm also going to use my wet glue. I'm just going to put some wet glue on that as well. Belt and braces. And this is going to go, again, roughly in the middle. If I was not rushing, I would probably measure it. Well, there we go. And I'm just going to give that a really good push down. Got glue all over the place there, but rub that off afterwards. Okay, and then this side like that, and that is then your 4-page 4-leaf spine. So what I want to focus on is actually covering this now. So let me just come out of here, and knowing now that this is going to be what we see, okay, I want my colour, I don't have to trim it, I want my colours to match those pinks and blues. So whatever paper I choose has got to match the pinks and the blues. Now I'm going to go into the 12 by 12 maxi pad. Wish they'd give that a different name. Okay, and I'm going to have a look through for something that's a little plainer but is non-directional. Unless I go for, no, because it's an inch. That's not an inch, is it? That's a shame. I don't think it's an inch. Let me just have a look. It doesn't look like an inch. Where's my ruler gone? Oh gosh, I wish I didn't work in such a mess. I'm sure I had a ruler, but it's not around now. I did have it because I used it this morning. There it is, underneath everything else. But I don't think those are an inch, no. So that would look slightly odd. So no. That's quite pretty and pretty non-directional. So is that, and that is definitely non-directional. So I think I'm going to use that. If anybody disagrees, shout now. Because I don't think there's anything else. Those aren't equidistant, so that won't work. No, don't like that, and that wouldn't work anyway. So I think I'm going to go for this one. Okay. So what I want are 4 1-inch pieces. Now normally I would have gone from the 8x8 pad if I had the maxi pad, but I've only got that in the 12 by 12 and I don't want to use my lovely 8x8 papers for this. So I'm going to cut this to I'm going to cut this to 7 and 7/8. So I'm going to cut this to 7 and 7/8. Orange is cut. Keep that for another time. And then I don't want this little bit here, or do I? I'm not sure. I'll cut them to 1 inches right from the first one, because I have got that at the bottom as well. I should have noticed that earlier. So 4 pieces at 1 inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to want 4 for the reverse. So I shall just keep going. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4. Move that out the way, move that out the way, bring this back in. So the other thing I haven't done is to go around these edges here. So I'm going to do that really quickly. So I'm going to measure a piece of tape to roughly the right size. I can adjust it if I need to. Okay, so that's going to go halfway. That's a bit short. That's a bit too short. Okay, so what I'm going to do, because I know that's a bit short, is stick that on my table. And then I can measure against it. So it needs to be just slightly longer than that piece. Okay, so that's my first piece. So I'm going to pop that onto there. And just slightly too long this time. So I'm just going to chop a little bit off there. That one's fine. And wrap that. No, that needs to come off. A tiny bit off there. Wrap that under like that. My tummy's rumbling. Okay, now the next one. Got bits of black all over me now. So only a tiny bit longer than the measuring one. And that's going to go at the bottom, like so. Again, it's slightly too long. What you don't want is it rucking up. So I'm just going to take a little bit off the bottom and fold that one over like that. And then I want another piece. So I'm using this one as my guide. So that's going to go onto there. Like that. And tuck underneath. Like so. And then one more. I know that's going to be too long. One more, which is going to go on here. Oops. Like so. It's going to be too long on that edge, so I'm just going to chop a little bit off there. And that's just going to go under like that. And then I'm not going to waste this piece that I've cut too short. And what I'm going to do is cut 4 small pieces of it to fit on those corners, like so. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. turn it over the other way. Give this a bit of a rub down and do the same on this side. So 1, 2, 3, oops, more haste, less speed, 4. Okay, so now I actually did only waste a tiny little bit. So now I'm ready to put these on. So I'm going to start with a top and a bottom piece, like so. Move it up so you can see it out the way. A top and a bottom piece like so. So I'm just going to go round the edges of this. So, and because it's a sort of distressed vintage paper, you can just go over those edges just that little bit more. So I'm just going to pop that onto there. So just a little bit of glue on there, and that's going onto there, like so. A little bit too much glue came out then. It's a new thing of glue. It's gone a bit mad. And then we do the same on this one. So I'm just going to go around the edges like so. All the way around. And we'll pop that one on as well. A little bit less glue this time, I hope. Okay, and we'll try and make sure that it's roughly level. And what I'm going to do to help me make sure is just place that one in place. And I can see when I do that, that they are, oh, that one's a little bit shorter. Let's put that one to one side. I don't know why that's shorter. I know why it's shorter. It's not shorter. This is just not as straight on that side. There we go. It wasn't shorter. It just wasn't straight on that side. So now I'm going to get a pencil and I'm going to draw a line there and there where those two pieces meet. And I'm just going to cut off that edge and that edge. And thank you, Paul Ford, for demonstrating this brilliant way to mitre. So on these edges here, I'm going to put more ink. So on these two diagonal pieces, and then I'm just going to go around the edge like that, and around the edge like that. And then when you put it on, can you see how it looks like a mitred corner? Such a clever idea from such a clever paper crafter. Okay, so line that up, and there we go. And then we're going to do the same on this side. So make sure it's lined, line there, and there it is. Couldn't see my line for a minute. Line there, line there, extra ink on your mitre, like that, just to give it a bit of shadow. go round the edge, all the way round, like that. And then I'll just put a bit of glue on this. And that is going to go on there and on there. And that's the front done. So now, last thing we're going to do, sorry, this is a long one today, is find my acetate. So your acetate has got two sides of protective film. So we're going to take one side off. I'm going to try and take one side off. I can see it's coming out. There we go. So we're going to take one side off, but leave the other side on. Okay. And what we're going to do this time is exactly the same, but we're going to do it on to the acetate. Now, if you're going to work on acetate, you do need to have double-sided tape. Okay, so I've got a top and a bottom. I do think that one is a bit shorter, but let me just test it out. Top and a bottom. Just want to make sure that is going to work. Yes, it is. Okay, so I've got my Cool Cats sticky paws. Take the other side of the protective film off, and that is going to go on to the inside here. So I'm going to put my tape onto here like that. So let's just very quickly do that. So tape onto there. It's just got slightly too long. So just trim that. And onto there. Onto there. And onto there. And a little bit onto there. And onto there. And onto there. And on to there. Okay. So we can pull the outer ones halfway, but we've got to take the inner ones all the way off because there's no way we can get at those. Oops. So the outer ones can go halfway, the inner ones have to come all the way off, so we have to make sure that we are absolutely accurate before we put it down. So lift that up, bring that into place, and I'm going to line it up from this side. I want a little bit of the black inner showing all the way around. So I'm happy with that. So that's coming out. That's coming out. that's coming out, that's coming out, and there is my front cover complete. So when I put my first page in, let's get this that way up. When I put my first page in, you're going to see that clock.